Hi, my name is Jacob Fackler, and I'm here to talk to you about cutting wood or logging, whatever you want to call it. So when people think about cutting wood, they think about using a chainsaw, cutting a tree down, then voila. But there's a lot more to that. There's a couple things I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to sharpen the chain, refuel and put new bar oil in it, and I'm also going to show you how to run a log splitter. I am inside, so I can't really do nothing cutting, whatnot, but I'm gonna do my best, show you how it works. So a lot of people nowadays are starting to use natural gas or propane furnaces to heat their house, but a lot of people around here are still using wood stoves like us. It's really not complicated. All you really do is cut wood and burn it. There's a few different things you can do. There's a lot of different woods you can burn. Some burn hotter, some burn longer. About the only thing you don't want to burn though is pine. Pine creates something called creatine, and creatine pops and explodes in the furnace, and you don't want that because you gotta clean everything out. But mainly around here, a lot of people just burn ash and sometimes elm, not often though. But as you know, Michigan emerald ash borer a few years ago, that kind of cut the ash trees population down quite a bit. So farther ado, I'm gonna start sharpening. So first off, I'm gonna apologize for the bad view. I know you can't see me, but I'm in a garage working with very little room to put my phone on. But I'm gonna talk about sharpening now. It's kind of easier to show you like this anyway. But sharpening is pretty easy. All you need is a round file. This is a round file, and you need obviously a chain. You need sharpened blades because they do something called rolling, and rolling kind of rounds the edge, so it makes it so it don't cut very well. And if your saw don't cut, it makes it worse on the saw because you're overworking it, and you can feel it in your body as well. Your arms hurt much quicker, and it's just more demanding. So with sharpening, it's very easy. These are called teeth, these big parts right here, and they're all crisscrossed. So one's on this side, one's on this side, one's on this side, one's on this side. It's how they all around the blade. So sharpening's easy. All you gotta do is, this one's on this side of the blade, so all you gotta do is put it this way and sharpen just like that. Now it's important to sharp. I like to explain it just by, being like a knife. With a dull knife, it's not gonna cut very well, and it's just not good for nothing. Same with the chainsaw blade. I've already sharpened this due to past retakes of this video, so I don't really need to do much. But it's very easy. It doesn't take long, maybe 10-15 minutes. I'm going fast, I'm not really trying. But yeah, as you can see, teeth are shiny, sharp. That's what you want. You don't want them to be rolled. You don't want them to be cracked. You don't want them to be nothing wrong with them. All you want is sharpness. Next up is refueling, putting new bar oil in. So that's the bar oil. It says bar chain oil right on, and that's Husqvarna premixed gas. So you can also just get plain gas and oil and mix it together by yourself, but Husqvarna makes something called X Fuel, and it's supposed to make your saw run better. It's built for XP saws. Just higher end fuel, better running quality. So all you really need for this is called a scrunch. It's a wrench and a screw together called a scrunch. Bar oil and gas, or gas and oil, and you need your saw, of course. And you obviously need refuel for obvious reasons, like so your saw runs. But it's not that hard. All chainsaws are built like this. You got your part for the scrunch, open it up just like that, unscrews, pull it out. This is a gas tank. Gas tank's all the way in the back, bar oil is up front. So as you can see, there's nothing really in it. But it's not that hard. Usually I would use a funnel, but I don't need one right now. So for all you need for that is your gas. So take your gas, open that up, and just make sure it's mixed well. This is already pre-mixed, so it don't really matter. But just dump it in. Now, usually use a funnel. It's a lot easier because one, I spill it everywhere, but it's you don't want saw running into the air filter on your saw. It's not very good for it. But I didn't fill it all the way. It takes quite a bit, but there's no reason to fill it all the way. So all you gotta do is screw it back on. Not that hard. Just what this wrench is for. So if you don't have a wrench, they're very hard to open with your hands. I usually keep a pair of vice clips on me, or pliers. So that's done. And all ready. So next up, you gotta put your bar oil in. Bar oil, it's right here. It goes in through here. It just lubricates the bar and the bar between the chain and the bar. There's little teeth in there. Just make it so there's no friction, keeps heat away from the gas, and it's just like oil for your car. So all you gotta do is same with gas. Get your scrunch, put it in, and unscrew. Just like that. It's the same as a gas tank. Just, I cannot stress this enough. Never put the gas in the bar oil, and never put the bar oil in the gas. It has happened before with us. The bar oil cauterized, made globs of goo, screwed the saw up, never ran again. Very expensive saw. Just make sure you're watching. Remember, and there's even little icons on it for oil, and the gas is right there. Just never put bar oil in gas, or vice versa. Bar oil is literally just oil. It's just like any other car. Again, use a funnel. I don't really got one with me right now. But all you gotta do is dump it in. Now, just like the gas, fill it. I'm gonna fill this just because it's good for it. There's actually quite a bit in there still. But just oil. Now that's done, you can put everything away. Screw this back in. Always make sure these are tight, because when cutting, you deal with sawdust, and there's still sawdust stuck on it. You always gotta make sure you don't get sawdust in the tanks, because that will instantly stop making your saw run. Sorry, I had to hold on to it real quick. Now, when starting, it's not hard. I would show you, but I'm in a garage, can't really do that. So all you gotta do is pump the gas. I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to flood it when it's not running. All you gotta do is push that 3-5 times. It injects gas. Cars are fuel injected, so you don't need to do that. Kill switch right here. If you have an issue, just click that up, and it stops completely. Now to start it, literally all you do is pull this. It doesn't do it. It just starts. This saw, it's a good saw. It takes 2 pulls. It starts instantly. Now, to run it. Throttle. This is safety. So in order to run, see, like this won't come up without that. So you got to push that down, then pull that. This is the throttle. This is the gas pedal of the saw. Running it really ain't that easy. It really ain't that hard. I mean, just basic common sense. Just make sure you don't get the saw too close to your leg. It happens. Everyone makes mistakes. But just make sure you keep good throttle control. If you have an issue, that's why that kill switch right here. Just flick it and it stops. So next up, we're going to talk about the cutting aspect. So now that you got sharpening and refueling done, and I taught you how to start the saw without actually starting it, sorry. But you're now ready to start cutting. So with cutting, if you're cutting a tree, I can't show you obviously. I wish I could. That was the plan, but I can't. All you gotta do is the tree trunk. You're gonna want to take the saw, and instead of just cutting straight through it, you're gonna want to cut straight halfway, go down from the top, cut down like a wedge. This wedge, once you kick the ledge out, this allows the tree to fall whatever direction you cut the wedge in. From that point on, now you got the straight line cut through half and the wedge out. You can now cut, starting from the other half, and start cutting this way. So, cutting is dangerous. You wouldn't think about it. You don't think it is, but it is. A lot of people die. There's been quite a few people I know around here that have died from it. So, my best advice is just keep an extra pair in the back of your head. Just always watch above you and make sure the tree is falling the direction you want. And it's not, and no branches are coming down on top of you. Most people don't die because of chainsaws. They die because of the tree. So once the tree falls, all you gotta do is pretty much trim the branches off, and those, if they're big enough, you can cut little chunks out. But for that, I usually just have brush piles all over the woods. But I start brush pile. So once you start cutting the log, you're gonna want it to cut into about, I cut about 18 inches. This is probably about 24. This is probably 20. I cut usually 8 inches wide or 8 inches long because our log splitter is 28, I think, wide, and it fits perfectly fine. There's not much to it. This is a split piece of wood. I split it in the log splitter. But this is just, for example, how wide you want it. I've always based it off the size of the bar. My bar is 26 inches, but it is 6 inches inside the saw. So just make sure you know what size your wood burner is, because you don't want to cut a piece too big, because then you gotta go back, trim that, and then it's a mess. So you might as well just cut it right on the first time. So with cutting, it's not necessarily easy, but it's not hard. It is very demanding. The saw is heavy. After a while, your shoulders are dead. It hurts, but you gotta do it to heat your house. So with that being said, you know how to cut, you know how to trim, and you know how to log. So the last thing I gotta move on to is show you, and there's plenty of other aspects besides this, but there's an axe for cutting. I have an axe just in case you need to show you that. And then we have a log splitter. Log splitters, a lot of people don't have them. They're pretty expensive. I've always used an axe as a kid growing up. Past 2 years we had a log splitter. Makes it much easier. So without further ado, I'm gonna move on to that, explain that to you, show you how to. So now we're done with everything. We're done with sharpening, done with refueling, done with starting the saw, and we're done with cutting. After cutting, depending on what size your tree is, you don't really need to split it. I've always split it, no matter what, because honestly, just little pieces don't matter, they burn faster. So with this, I have an axe right there, just in case I explain that. But I'm gonna basically rely on the log splitter for this. As I grew up, I've always used an axe, but the past 2 years we bought a log splitter. A lot of people don't have them. They're pretty expensive, and they're just not a necessity. But we have them. For log splitting, it's really not that hard. It's got a little motor on it. It's really not much different than the chainsaw. It's pretty easy, pretty basic machine. It's a hydraulic drum. This is the wedge. That's all the hydraulic lines and everything. All you gotta do is pull that lever. That moves forward. It crushes the log between that, splits it. This is the tray. Logs land out on top of that. So I cannot start it because I'm inside, exhaust, whatnot. But honestly, the only thing different is there's a hand throttle. You don't got to pull the trigger like the chainsaw. You got to move it with your hand. So for this, it's very basic. I'm going to go to the other side just to help explain it. So one design flaw I wish this was on the other side, because the throttle's on the other side and it's much easier to use. So with this, all you got to do is put the log right here and just rest up against that. That's the backing plate. Make sure it don't shoot out to the side or whatnot, but sometimes knots do make it do that. So with this, it's not that hard. This is kind of the gas pedal. That's the throttle, but this is the gas pedal. All you gotta do is literally just move that forward. It's not hard. It just moves forward a little bit. Move that forward. This goes forward, crushes the log, splits it in half. So I do it pretty fast. All I gotta do is pull that, it locks in, keeps going, walk back, hit it back, it locks, it goes back. I move on to the next log. So it is different than the axe, but it's much easier. So the axe, as you can see, they're very similar. They're both sharp wedges, just axe and manpower. This is hydraulic and motor. So that's basically it on splitting, and you've learned everything else, and you're ready to go out and cut. So now that I've taught you how to cut, how to split, how to sharpen, how to refuel, and how to start the saw, including how to run it, you're ready. You're ready to go out there. My biggest input I have on this is don't do it alone, especially not your first time. It's very dangerous. Bad things can happen very quickly. There's a lot of safety precautions I could have talked about, and I probably should have, but I didn't grow up like that. I probably should have talked about it. But I usually just wear a jacket and jeans, sometimes glasses, usually hats to keep sawdust on my hair and hair out of my eyes. But they make hard hats, they make visors, they make special chaps. So when you're cutting, if the saw goes into your leg or into the material, it gets caught inside the saw and stops. Now, it's very annoying. You have to take your bar out, clean everything out. But I have hit my leg quite a few times, and I'd rather clean the saw out than have a chain go through my leg again. But it's dangerous. There isn't much else to say about it. It's dangerous. There's very many deaths from it, and it's not the part you'd think. You'd think it would be the motor behind the chain that's spinning 50 mile an hour in your hands, but it's not. It's the tree that you're never going to expect that's above you. That's the thing that's going to hurt. Now, there are quite a few things that can happen. You can cut it wrong, the tree can fall over, but the biggest thing is that branches fall down. Dead trees, branches are weak, they fall. So, advice, if your saw gets stuck when the tree's falling, just run. It's a bar. It's $100 bar. You can buy a new one. You can swap it. It's better. Your life's more important than that. But just when you go out here and do this, if you go and do it, which I'm sure a lot won't, but just be safe. Have someone with you. I always bring an extra saw with me because this is the good saw. That's the other one's a crappy saw. That one dies every now and then. But I always bring an extra saw just for better safe than sorry. Better not to ruin your day, cut it, to go all the way back and get one. So all I gotta say is thank you for listening and thank you for watching, and I really hope you learned something today, and I'm happy I could help.